as well. Wait 1 second. Just want to make sure that I'm actually seeing myself back here. Hi. Okay. I think I'm seeing myself over here. All right. Yeah. Welcome back to Ask Jason Anything about Facebook ads, about Meta ads. Okay. So this is another week, another Sunday, and this is actually quite a special Sunday for Malaysians because this is the last day of the super long weekend, for the Raya holiday. So I hope you are ready to get back to work because, yeah, it should be fun, right? Now, for those who are familiar with meta advertising, in fact, you should know that meta advertising or Facebook advertising is actually quite seasonal. Especially, I'm actually using Malaysia, for example, right? Um, After the peak season, which is we just had the Raya sale, right? I mean, which is when we are building up for seasonal sales like Raya sales, Chinese New Year sales, or even Christmas sales. After the peak period, we usually have this um, brief duration of what we call the advertisers' holiday. I mean, the logic is very simple, right? Like during the time where we are actually fighting for the Raya sale or the Christmas sale, advertisers tend to spend a lot of money in the market itself. So they usually want to push for the, like the peak and all that. So once the season is over, okay, we usually have a brief period of time where the advertiser usually pull out from the market and we tend to enjoy lower CPM. So this is what I'm actually observing right now. In fact, most of my clients are actually enjoying lower CPM right now because there are lesser competition in the market. And yeah, so this is a very good time for you to really come in and reap the most benefit out of the market itself because you get more exposure. Let's say if your usual CPM is, let's say, $5 now, if you're actually seeing like $3, for example, that means you reach 40% more people with the same amount that you're spending. So that's a very important season because that allows you to have extra exposure, especially this is a very good period for you to really get extra eyeball for you to brew for your retargeting campaign and stuff like that. So this is what interesting about meta advertising or Facebook advertising because it's not just about running ads and just throwing in the budget all the time. You should actually have the idea of planning something or kind of like building a strategy for your campaign. There are times where you can spend more. There are times you should spend lesser because it's not necessary. It's not important. Like for example, some of my lead gen clients, because the audience are not ready to take up for such like products or services, it's actually normal for us to retreat for a while and we come back next month stronger, or we distribute the budget into different months that has better prospect or like better response for our clients, I mean for our business. So it's always important for us to understand the whole thing in a macro way so we are able to plan things in a different way. So yeah, so that's a little bit of sharing. Now yeah, so basically if this is the first time you're watching this is me. I'm Jason from Malaysia. I'm a meta ads optimization strategist. What I do is I work with clients to really improve their Facebook ads or meta advertising campaign to get them better results. So what we do is we use data-driven techniques, such as we always analyze the numbers to find out what's working and what's not working. And eventually we build hypotheses and we kind of like tweak the strategy or tweak the campaign according to how we believe it should improve the campaign. So it's like a very regular and ongoing process for any advertising. Usually, this is how I help clients to achieve better result over time. So yeah, so if that's something that you want to achieve for your business, if you've been running ads, you are not sure whether your campaign is doing good or not, and how can you do better or do differently, it's good that we actually you can reach out to me for a one-on-one discussion and see how we can actually improve your campaign. But essentially, yeah, over here, what I do is I answer questions about meta advertising. So if you have any questions regarding Facebook advertising, meta advertising, Instagram advertising, first thing I will recommend that you actually navigate my YouTube channel first. Please go over to my YouTube channel. I posted over 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel discussing questions about Facebook advertising, and try to search for an answer. Chances are you probably can find something similar. If you cannot find anything, doesn't matter. Don't worry. All you need to do is just post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. And what I'm going to do is on the following Sunday, I will screenshot your question and I'll bring it up and have a discussion over here. Please do not expect for me to reply to you in a written form in a comment. I'm not saying that I want to be rude or something, no, it's because in my opinion, meta advertising is something technical that I do not believe written form is the best way to communicate. I prefer to have a verbal discussion like this. So don't worry, just come back on the following week to listen to my answers, or just join me live whenever you can for you to ask questions. So if you're joining me live right now, if you have any questions, please post your questions on the comment section. I'm going to go through a few questions that I have gathered this week, and once I go through that, I'll come back to the questions in the comment over here. Okay, right, so let me bring up the screen. So this session is called Ask Jason Anything About Facebook Ads or Meta Advertising. So this happens every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Malaysia time, so join me live. Okay, now just in case you don't want to go public, or you cannot wait until next week, or you have something more private and confidential for me to look into your campaign and for me to provide recommendations in a different way, you can actually scan this QR code, and this will bring you to my Fiverr gig. And all you need to do is just buy me a dinner, and we can have a 30 minutes discussion or more, depending on the package that you buy, to really look at your questions, to answer your questions, to analyze your campaign, or even to dive into your campaign and see what have you done right or wrong, to give you personalized recommendations on any challenges that you're facing on meta advertising or Facebook advertising. So scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. Okay, now over here, if you are actually starting out on Facebook advertising and you want to have a guided method or kind of like guided training to help you get started, I would definitely recommend my Facebook Ads Masterclass. So this is a 2.5-hour training, a recorded training. Okay, so you don't need to wait for the date of training or whatnot. Scan this QR code, then you can actually immediately buy and start learning right away. So the beauty of this training consists of 5 main so-called chapters that covers everything you need to know about meta advertising. First, we talk about the campaign structure and the strategy that I use. I have a framework called the 2-step funnel framework, where I would actually break it down to you, walk you through how to set up, and on the entire campaign strategy and everything, so you can actually master and apply right away. So as we move along, right, we discuss about aside from the strategy and the framework, we also talk about the audience the objective selection, okay, which Facebook Ads has a lot of objectives. It's actually vital to use the right one to start, otherwise you'll be starting on the wrong direction. So we talk about objective selection, and on top of that, we talk about the audience targeting, where I have some unique audience targeting techniques that can help you really pinpoint your audience to help you target the right audience, which is essential for your meta advertising, followed by the creative and copywriting. Because I work with clients from all around the world, I'll be able to provide you the latest information or the insights about what's working and what's not working to cut short your learning. So immediately you can actually get to the point where, okay, now this might work better for you, this might not, it's just that, very straightforward. And the last but not least, we also would have analytics module where because in my opinion, getting started on advertising is actually the easiest part. Everybody with a Facebook ads account can start running ads, right? But how is it working for you, and how can you improve? So the analytical part plays a very important role, which I have a module to talk about that. So 2.5-hour training in this module. And eventually you'll always get the latest version of it, because every 6 months or so, I would do a, kind of like a refresh. So yeah, because of new features, new tools or something like that, right? So you always get the latest version. Just come back to the link that you get, upon purchasing this program, and you'll be able to go to the, the same page on that. Now, just in case you say that, Jason, I don't want to go through all this learning, I just want you to help me set up. Is it possible? Yes, I do have a very special offer over here. This is really for those who wants to get their ads up and running with the optimum strategy. And, you don't want to actually go through all the training, because it's not necessary. You just want to go straight, and this is how should I do it? And, and stuff like that. So this is a done with you program, where I'm gonna design a strategy for you based on your business, your campaign needs and the strategy. We talk about the objective, we talk about the creative direction and everything, and eventually you'll go back to prepare your content. We also talk about landing page as well. If you have a landing page, I will also provide recommendations on how to probably improve the landing page performance, hopefully to get better results. So yeah, so the strategy and all is the first call, and followed by the second call, which I will be setting up the campaign for you. As in, like, we will do a Zoom screen sharing and all that. I would immediately set up the campaign in front of you, and we can discuss about the audience targeting, the strategy, and all that to help you really understand and master Facebook advertising. Feel free to invite your team to come into the training, because the beauty of this is it's not just for you to learn; it's for your team to learn. So, and of course, you have a campaign up and running right after that, right? And everything will be recorded. You can use this as your future training so-called purposes for your team and all that. So it's very useful for those who just want to really get started, right? So that's something that you want to consider. Okay, so yep, those are the ways that you can actually work with me. Feel free to scan those QR codes and go to the right ones, and we can actually hopefully talk to you soon. Now, let me go through some of the questions over here now. This is actually coming from Salim. Okay, so you were saying that you face a problem that when you go to post page, it shows that you need permission, don't have permission to access the page for that. In business info, you can contact a business admin to request access. Obviously, if this is wrong, if you believe that you are the admin of the Facebook page, but you don't see this feature available, it could be because you log in through the different account, or you probably want to go to the, like the top right, switch account, switch over to the page and see whether you have access to it. Otherwise, you might have been hacked in a way that, like you've been, somebody actually gotten access to your account, and they probably kick you out from the admin and all that. They take over your Facebook page and stuff, which is possible. So I won't be able to give you like my recommendation, because I really need to look at what is your current situations right now, because eventually it could be because you don't have sufficient admin. It could be because you are hacked. It could be because you are logging in from the wrong account or anything. I would have to look at your situation to give you personalized recommendation. So if you want, so best way is try to contact support, or try to find anyone else who have access to your Facebook page and see whether they can come in and see whether you're in there. And otherwise, you can contact, like Facebook support to see whether they can actually help you to kind of get back to the page. If you have very strong proof that you are probably being hacked or something like that, check your account status and everything. Just to make sure. But if you want me to look at your situation and give you personalized recommendation, well, you can then scan this QR code, and this will take you to my Fiverr Gate. From there, you can buy me a dinner, and we can actually have a 30-minute Zoom call to really look at your situation. Please be prepared to share your screen so that we can actually navigate and see. And from there, I'll be able to give you better direction about what can we possibly do to solve your problem and to get back your page again. So yeah, so that's something that I can offer at the moment. Because I definitely need more information about this. Okay. Now, anyway, thanks for, hopefully you are already kind of like, you already got it back. Otherwise, feel free to use the QR code and talk to me. Now, the second question is coming from Huzaini, and you're asking how much do I charge for the one-on-one session? So, well, thanks for asking, but very simple. If you want to find out more about my rate, just scan this QR code, and this is where you can actually start working with me. Now, I not that I want to hide the rate. Frankly speaking, scan this QR code doesn't make you pay. But because my rate changes from time to time, because we do adjust our rate from time to time because of the demand and all. So this is the best place for you to find the latest rate. So the way I work with most of my clients is actually based on the hourly rate. So you can actually opt for the 30 minutes discussion or 1 hour discussion, depending on how much time you need to discuss. And some clients actually purchase multiple sessions because there are different needs, in fact. All right. So basically, this is where you start. Scan this QR code, and you'll be able to just book a 30 minutes or 1 hour call with me to actually start working with me. And from there, we will see whether we do need follow-up sessions and stuff like that. But that's the best way to start. Just scan this QR code, and we can actually start working with each other. Okay, thanks for asking. Now, the next one is coming from Bono. So the question is it possible to run ads on a TikTok account, which is not a business? Because the business account won't have access to any viral sounds. Okay, to be very frank, okay, I have not been really managing a lot of TikTok advertising campaigns for a while now, because I still specialize in meta advertising and Facebook advertising in most of the cases. So although some of my clients do run TikTok ads occasionally when we are reviewing our campaign on a weekly basis, we do go into the TikTok side of things, but I'm not really entirely a specialist on TikTok ads. But based on what I know, it is okay to use a personal TikTok account to run ads. As long as you're able to set up an ad account with it and connect with it, you should be able to run ads. Yeah, but there are certain features that you still want to go for the business account because there are certain limitations. But nonetheless, to be frank, in my opinion, just try. If you can get through it, then of course it's proven you can. Otherwise, you can't. And in other ways, you won't be losing any money, right? It's just about navigating yourself because there are also differences in countries because certain countries will have certain differences in terms of the features and the availabilities and stuff. So I would strongly encourage that you go and try out yourself and see whether you're able to run ads with your personal TikTok account. Yeah, but based on what I believe, you should be all right. Just try and see. Okay, right. Thanks for the question. Now, then I have a very interesting question coming from my community. This I get a lot. How to control Facebook ads frequency. Now, when you're running ads on Facebook, it's very important for you to understand your frequency control. First thing first, for your top of funnel campaign, you want to make sure that your frequency is controlled at below 2. Now, when I say below 2, that means within 7 or 14 days, as long as your frequency is below 2, it's actually ideal. But before that, we probably want to understand what is frequency, right? Now, frequency is really the number of times your audience have seen your ad within the specific period of time. So the ideal situation is 7 days below 2, because the idea is, especially for top of funnel that we are talking about, top of funnel campaign are supposed to help us reach new audiences. If the frequency is too high, that means our ads, our campaign, our budget are being locked on a bunch of people who have seen it multiple times. They probably have taken action, they probably have not, but because Facebook believe that they are more likely to take action, they locked on them already. So high frequency for top of funnel campaign is not ideal. But on the other hand, if you are running a retargeting campaign, we should tolerate higher frequency. Like for example, averagely for an e-commerce campaign, we usually want to go, let's say if we do a 7 days retargeting, we want to achieve at least 3 and above frequency, but below 5. The idea is, for e-commerce, it's always about urgency. It's always about when they are interested in your product, you want to appear as many times as possible in front of them to remind them about your product, to remind them about the purchase intent and all. So it's really about, reaching them as many times as possible within this, let's say, 7 days period to make sure they convert. So for retargeting, we always, aim for a higher frequency because that's important for us to make the conversion. So how do we really control frequency now? Very simple. For top of funnel, the easiest way and the most effective way to control frequency is to apply exclusion. Meaning when you're running ads, you want to consider excluding people who have recently engaged with your ad, click on your website, click on the link or landed on your website, or even people who have purchased. So these are the people that they have seen your ad, they have interacted with your ad, they have actually kind of purchased, they have went further down the customer journey. They shouldn't be seeing the same ad, if you get what I mean. Okay, because they have interacted with it. Because it's very, very unlikely for a person who have interacted with an ad to do it again. Because they believe, first I've seen it, I've taken action. Now, yes, if you want to say that, my product might require a little bit of more visits and all that, then you remember you have a retargeting ad. So when you're running ads, this all comes back to the strategy, right? We will always have a top of funnel campaign and the retargeting campaign running simultaneously. So the top of funnel campaign is always about reaching new people, bringing in new people. And the retargeting is about converting those people with multiple and repetitive, with more convincing ads and stuff like that. So for the top of funnel, exclusion is the key to really bring down the so-called the frequency. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to retargeting, as we aim for higher frequency, but there are certain times you might reach too high a frequency. For example, if you are aiming for 3 to 5, but for 7 days, your frequency has gone up to maybe 10. Now, there are a few things that you can do to actually reduce frequency. First, to actually apply more lenient retargeting. So instead of targeting people who visited your website, for example, if you want to target people who added to cart, for example, then maybe because your add to cart number is not that big, that's why you are actually showing ads to a very little, small amount of people. So that's the reason why the frequency is high. So consider reducing the retargeting restriction. Instead of going for add to cart, target people who landed on your website. So that will give you bigger audience size, which will effectively increase your, decrease your frequency to a more nominal, or kind of like well-controlled kind of frequency. Or you can even move down further to target people who have interacted with your ad, okay, which give you a bigger portion of people, a bigger audience size, which is effective in bringing down the frequency. So these are the few things that you can do in terms of controlling your frequency for your top of funnel and retargeting campaign. But I always want you to remember one thing. Sometimes it's more important to actually look at the overall performance of the campaign instead of locking in into one specific metric. Some people likes to get, I mean, I'm not saying that it's you, but I've seen too many people obsessed with one single few metrics, and they forgot to look at the whole big picture. Like, for example, I always have a client, I mean, like back then it was a student who actually learned with me before. Every time I do a live sessions like this, he always come back and ask me the same question. How do I bring down the CPM? How do I bring down the CPM? Because he always believed that bringing down the CPM is going to give him better result. But in my opinion, it's not the case, because I may have a very low CPM, but if I bring the wrong people into the funnel, the whole thing is not going to work. So in order to get lower CPM, it's actually very simple. Target more people, or go for more lenient objectives such as engagement and all that, because there are more people who are likely to do the same thing. And usually you can reach more people with lower CPM, but you are not going to get the quality of people that you want that may convert in your business. So CTR as well, sometimes I've seen so many campaigns that we have, like not so satisfying so-called CTR, but it still performs. So when it comes to frequency, it's the same. Okay, certain times, because of the campaign structure, because of the setup and all that, there are many reasons that affects your frequency and your campaign performance. So as long as the overall campaign is performing, we really want to look at what is making it perform and how can we take it further. And if the campaign is not performing, do not blame the frequency as well. Try to find out what's really happening in your campaign and fix the right problem. Because in my opinion, it's very simple. Whether we have a good campaign or bad campaign, we always need to know why. Otherwise, we'll be making, wrong, so-called making decisions based on gut feeling. If you have a good campaign, I want to know why. Otherwise, I won't be able to scale effectively. I don't know what's working. Now, on the other hand, if I have a failed campaign, I want to know why, because I want to avoid making the same mistake in the future. So if you are running ads and you really want to master the analytical part of it, and you want to know what's working and not working in your campaign and how can you optimize it, I would invite you to actually scan this QR code to have a 30-minute discussion with me. Of course, you got to buy me a dinner on this one as well. So all you need to do is, just scan this QR code and you are able to book a 30-minute with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into your campaign via a Zoom call. So this is going to be a Zoom's one-on-one sharing and all that. Please make sure that you are joining via the native Zoom app, so that we can actually do screen control and all. It's a lot easier for me to navigate on my end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build you a dashboard for your campaign, because every business is unique, right? I'll build you a dashboard according to all the metrics that you need. From there, you'll be able to see crystal clear what's working and what's not working, what the connection between the metrics and all that, which I'll explain to you. And I'll also help you build a plan, because once we analyze the campaign, we'll be able to know what's working and what's not working. And from there, we are able to build a plan on optimization, as in like, okay, now if the CTR is not working, let's fix the creative and test different things from here and there. And if it's the frequency that is affecting the campaign, let's apply certain things here and there to try to bring the frequency down, or even to push the frequency as the retargeting, which is important that we need to have a higher frequency and all that. So you have a better understanding about your overall campaign, and we are able to have a plan to help you improve your campaign performance. So if that's what you want, scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. Okay, right. I think that's all I have for this week. And thank you so much for joining me as usual. And this is it. And if you have any questions, just feel free to post your questions on any videos of mine on YouTube, and join me live next Sunday. So with that, thank you so much. You have a good one. Have an awesome week ahead. See you next week. Good night. Bye-bye.